All right, good evening, everybody. I am BGM, or Bigger Gayer Magic, and tonight on live deck building, where you guys put in your suggestions in the comments, we talked about them in relation to a commander. We are taking a look at Choco, Seeker of Paradise. It is a Bant Birds build. It's also got some landfall synergies in here, because Choco says that whenever one or more birds attack, one or more of our birds attack, we get to look at the top cards of our library, shit out that many lands onto the battlefield tapped, and even put one of those cards into our hand, and the rest get put into our graveyard. So it grabs lands off the top, puts them into play, proportionate to the amount of birds we attack with. It also helps us fill our graveyard, and it gives us a little bit of card selection, because we're putting one of the revealed cards into our hand. Choco is a 3/5 for 4 mana. It's also got a landfall trigger to get +1/+0 until end of turn, which is going to be great because on that attack trigger, we're going to get some landfall triggers right before damage so that Choco can be a little bit pumped up before we connect with our opponents. And you can't talk about a bird build without talking about the Birds of Paradise. Birds of Paradise is a common Magic card in almost every format. It's a single mana, mono green little flying 0/1 creature that taps for a mana of any color. We've seen a lot of different printings of the Birds of Paradise. They're simply probably the best mana dork in Magic the Gatherings. Definitely a lot better than definitely a lot better than like a Land of War Elves, because the birds fly and they tap for 1 mana of any color. Gotta have a bird. Great bird to have. Comes out easy. Oh, hey, Ivan, thank you so much. Arcane Adaptation. Arcane Adaptation. Hey, Voidless Void, how are you doing? It has been a minute since I've seen you. I am only going live like once a week now. We only do Tuesdays now. So we are taking a look at Arcane Adaptation suggested by Ivan Jumper over on Twitch. This thing says, and it enters the battlefield, you choose a creature type. We're probably going to be picking some birds tonight for Choco. Creatures you control are the chosen type in addition to their other types, and the same is true for creature spells you control and creature cards you own that aren't on the battlefield. Meaning that it's going to turn all the birds, all the creatures in our graveyard into birds, all the creatures in our libraries into bird, and all the creatures in our hand into birds. So if we have spells that care about birds or counting for birds or bird spells, this thing's going to help us out, especially if we're running some synergy creatures that aren't birds themselves. Yeah. Very cool. All right, what else we got? What do we got? This thing could be cool. So there are a few different birds that make like spirit tokens. I want to say it's shy. It's Kaikar. I'm trying to think of Kaikar. Kaikar makes little spirit tokens. It's interesting. We got a little Azorius 4-drop from Foundations. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you can make yourself a little 1/1 white spirit flying creature token, or you can exile another target creature you control and then return it to the battlefield. This thing can blink stuff on non-creature cast abilities. It's cool. It's a bird. It's a flying 3/4. And it comes out relatively early at 4 mana. Very cool. Hey everybody, how's it going? We're doing some live deck building. We are building Choco, Seeker of Paradise from the recently respoiled Final Fantasy spoilers. This one looks like it appeared in Final Fantasy IX along Zidane. Hey Omar, how's it going? Hi there, finally able to catch us. Good to see you, Omar. Voidless Void says that Reality Chip would be great. Let's pull up Reality Chip. Reality Chip came out in Neon Genesis Kamigawa. It's a little piece of equipment. It's like one of those living equipment. It's a 2-drop that says you can look at the top card of your library at any time, and as long as this thing is attached to a creature, you can play lands and cast spells from the top of your library. You can also equip it for 3. Very cool. So we do have a landfall trigger on our commander. This thing will help us play lands off the top. It also just gives us card advantage things, right? Because as long as we can get this thing equipped, we can play stuff off the top. Yeah, I don't mind. Great little piece of tech. Hey, Evan, how's it going? Oh, Evan says a Splendid Reclamation. I love myself Splendid Reclamation. It's like a 4-drop mono green sorcery that lets you put all the lands in your graveyard onto the battlefield tapped. So I normally think of Splendid Reclamation in regards to like, it's probably like a Golgari landfall build. Definitely I'm thinking I'm running black when I'm running Splendid Reclamation. We want to be kind of careful about this in our bird landfall deck because this thing puts all the lands onto the battlefield tapped. But Choco's attack trigger will make us look at the top cards of our library proportionate to the amount of birds we're swaying with, and that trigger can just shit out lands onto the battlefield. But if we want to go for a bunch of landfall triggers all at once, we could choose to have the lands revealed during Choco's trigger go to the graveyard, and then we can recur them all at once with something like a Splendid Reclamation. I also really enjoy running a Splendid Reclamation alongside lands like Myriad Landscape, Terramorphic Expanse, Evolving Wilds, things that you have to sacrifice to go grab yourself basics out of your deck. Super fun to play alongside a Splendid Reclamation. Hey, wow, hey everybody, how's it going? Thanks for popping by. We're doing some live deck building. If you have a suggestion for our Choco Seeker of Paradise Bird Tribal deck, please put it in the comments yet. Please don't spam your suggestions. If you see your suggestion over here pulled up, it's going to be put into a Moxfeild deck list, and you can see what other people would run in our Bird Tribal deck over on that, and you can get there via the link tree. Right now we're pulling up Kestrel the Windcrested. This thing is the 5-drop bird commander that came out in Bloomborough. Bloomborough came out a few sets ago. It was the anthropomorphic animal Disney-themed kind of plane. But it did give us 10 animal tribes, and birds was one of those tribes. It was in blue and white colors, and here's the 5-drop commander for it. It says whenever one or more birds you control deal combat damage to a player, you get to pick one of these modes of draw a card, put a +1/+1 counter on each bird you control, or you may put a bird creature card from your hand or graveyard onto the battlefield with a finality counter. I actually built Kestrel very briefly. I only had him together for a week or two. He only had a few games. Basically, it was like playing dragons, but small. Yeah, it's cool. It's interesting. I really wish it had another color. I feel like the bird tribe can really benefit from green. Looking at our new friend Choco here. This thing is an obvious auto-include, though, and it has some cool alternate arts that are also around 50 cents. Hey, Cubberoni, how's it going? Thank you, Cubberoni. That's nice of you. Cubberoni, every time I see like a comment or like a notification that like you like something, I'm like, that guy's hot. In that little circle. Magic the Gathering and Final Fantasy are the same thing. Thomas, we are getting a Final Fantasy expansion in Magic the Gathering. It's coming out on June 13th. They're part of this thing called Universes Beyond, which includes outside intellectual properties into the multiverse of Magic the Gathering. Okay, so Saida put us up to this 3-Tree City. 3-Tree City is a $30 little legendary land. It enters the battlefield untapped and can tap for colorless. Or it can do something kind of Nykthosy by paying 2 mana, and you choose a color, and you add an amount of mana equal to the amount of the chosen creature of the type you picked when it enters. We're probably going to be picking birds and Choco the Chocobo, the Seeker of Paradise, is our bird commander for tonight. But 3-Tree City is simply the best tribal land. That's why it's $30. Great land, though. Definitely, if we have a ton of birds and a go-wide strategy, which we do want the go-wide bird strategy, because Choco's trigger gets more and more effective the more birds we're attacking with. Yeah, very great suggestion of 3-Tree City. Also, your beard is looking... Thank you! You guys are being so fucking nice to me today. Thank you, guys. Compliment. Thank you. Okay, you want... Saida says 22 Tempest Hawks. Okay, yeah. Tempest Hawk is the storm bird, right? Tempest Hawk. Tempest Hawk. Tempest Hawk. Tempest Hawk. We want Tempest Hawk. Tempest Drake. Okay, I gotta put it in the word Hawk. There's too many words. There's too many cards that start with Tempest. Tempest Hawk. Okay, we got Tempest Hawk. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, you may search your library for a card named Tempest Hawk, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. And a deck can have any number of cards named Tempest Hawk. Honestly, I kind of, like, we could do it. It's a place we could go. It's probably a pretty powerful place we could go, honestly. We are in Bant colors, so we could run something like a Genesis Wave to shit out a ton of Tempest Hawks at once. We could run a Thrumming Stone to keep thrumming out a bunch of our Tempest Hawk. You know what? This might just be the move right here, is just a Tempest Hawk Relentless deck. If you guys are unfamiliar with the term Relentless, it's after Relentless Rats, which is one of the very first cards that had this little clause that you can see down here. A deck can have any numbers of the named cards. That's referred to as like a Relentless build. So we could do Relentless Birds if we want to run, I don't know, I would say 24 Tempest Hawks. It could, honestly, it could be really fun. It'd probably be really fun. And the thing about the Tempest Hawks is they keep replacing themselves. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you can just go search for more of them, and then you get more birds. Honestly, Tempest Hawk might just be the move. Like, you pulled 2 of the Tempest Hawks yesterday, Saida? That's cool. Hey, a guy that exists, how's it going? You made this deck, but it wasn't good, so I just went birds and took him out. Okay. Empyrean Eagle. Yeah, Empyrean Eagle is a cool little lord creature. If you guys are unfamiliar with the term lord, they are creatures that usually care about a very specific creature type, and they give like a +1/+1 buff. An Empyrean Eagle is a 3-drop in Azorius colors that can do that. It says that other creatures you control with flying get +1/+1. There are quite a few little Azorius flyer builds floating around commander pods these days. I think we got a beginner commander deck a few years ago, like 3 or 4 years ago, that was the Azorius Flyers build. And this was definitely in there. Alright, so Senu wants us to Senu Keen-Eyed Protector. Oh, Senu! I love this card. I have a fancy version just because I love Assassin's Creed Origins. So in the game that this bird is from one of the Assassin's Creed game, the Assassin's Creed Origin, which is the Egyptian themed one. Because of it's an open world game, they use the bird as a way to scout out the map, and that's Senu. And like Bayek always, which is the character you play, he always said something kind of affectionate to Senu whenever he like went out and returned. Senu could fuck people up though. So there were upgrades towards the end of the game where like you just send Senu out to blind people. But anyway, Senu is a 2-drop little 2/1 bird flying vigilant bird scout. He's got an activated ability where we can exile him and we gain 2 life and scry 2. And when a legendary creature you control attacks and isn't blocked, if Senu is exiled, we can put it back onto the battlefield attacking. It's interesting. It's a low drop. It's only 2 mana. It's not a super relevant body, but it does have vigilance if we want to block with it later or use its activated ability. It's cool. I love it. It's got some sick art as well. Also, it's cheap as hell. It's only like... Oh, wait. This thing's $3. Damn. This thing I was kind of expected to be only a few cents. Damn. Senu's dollars? Multiple dollars? Hey, Evan. You want us to run the Dolmen Gate? Dolmen Gate is not a card I'm familiar with. Dolmen Gate. It's an artifact. It's a 2-drop. It says prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to attacking creatures you control. It's $30. It's a great card. It's got very cool art. I like the portal going on here. This thing's pretty great. So it focuses... I think we're running this thing so that we can just kind of swing willy-nilly and get some really impactful Choco the Chocobo commander triggers, because Choco cares about the amount of birds we're swinging with, so we want to be swinging with everything optimally, because that way we can ramp real hard and also fill our graveyard, and maybe get some landfall triggers so that Choco can become a little bit bigger. This thing will just make our creatures safe to swing from combat damage. I can vibe. Ivan says Royal Elemental is disgusting, especially when you're playing a landfall deck. Oh, I think you're right. Royal Elemental's that blue thing, right? Yeah. Royal Elemental is a $15, 6 mana, 3/2 flyer with a landfall trigger that says whenever a land enters the battlefield under control, you maintain control of target creature for as long as you control Royal Elemental. And if we can, like, imagine it, let's paint a picture, right? Let's say we have a reasonable 4 birds onto the battlefield, right? We're in late game, we're in Bant colors, so maybe we have a landfall drop in our turn, right? We drop the Royal Elemental, drop our land for turn, yoink something from an opponent. Go to combat, maybe we swing with all 4 of Choco's birds, and we hit 1 more land, we just stole 2 things. This thing's crazy, and that's just a very realistic scenario. If you manage to like stack the top of the deck, put your lands on top, and don't get them all out at once, you might just be able to yoink someone's entire meaningful board with Royal Elemental. It is absolutely gross on a landfall deck, but very good suggestion, undeniably. Brawn would also, yeah, it would. I can vibe hard with that. Okay, so Brawn's interesting, and because Choco will put a bunch of cards in our graveyard proportionate to the amount of lands we're not putting on the battlefield and how many cards we're revealing off the attack trigger for Choco, Brawn could be a really cool include. We're really hoping not to draw Brawn, though. We want Brawn to hit the graveyard during one of Choco's attack triggers, because Brawn says as long as it's in your graveyard and you control yourself a forest, all your birds got trample. It's a good time. It doesn't just hit birds, it's all your creatures, as long as you got the forest and Brawn is in your graveyard. It's a good time. We could also run Wonder, but we're in Bird Tribal, and I feel like most of them fly anyway. Wonder is a blue-shifted version of this that works with the keyword flying in an island instead of trample in a forest. On the Frontier Spell Trigger. Frontier Spell Trigger? Frontier Spell Trigger. Skyclave Pickaxe. Okay, Skyclave Pickaxe would also work spectacularly. Okay, let's pull up the Skyclave Pickaxe. Alright, this is not a card I'm familiar with. This is probably the first time I've seen this thing. Skyclave Pickaxe is a 1-drop mono-green little piece of equipment. It looks like it came out in the first Jumpstart packs, and it enters the battlefield. You attach it to a creature you control, and whenever a land you control enters, equipped creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. 10 out of 10. Let's slam that right on our bird commander. That way it's going to get +3/+0 every time we get a landfall trigger. We're going to get a bunch of free lands on the attack trigger because we're going to attack with multiple birds. This thing's a real easy include, and this thing's only 40 cents. Very good suggestion for our bird landfall deck. Thank you. Yeah, that's cool as hell, and I ain't never seen this thing before in my life. Dovescape, I am the potato, wants us to run Dovescape. So Dovescape, I think Dovescape is very silly goofy, but some people get big mad when Dovescape hits the battlefield, because Dovescape is a 6-drop enchantment in Azorius colors, and it says whenever a player casts a non-creature spell, that spell gets countered, and they get a number of birds proportionate to the mana instead. It's a fun. I personally find it very fun. This is everybody has birds now, but it can be like, especially if someone's in a Stormy or a non-creature spell deck, they're not going to be super happy to have a bunch of birds instead of their game plan. And for those reasons, this card is considered kind of salty. But in our bird deck, I mean, where else does it belong besides a bird deck? I've banned a regular pod I play with while you play it in flubs. I've been looking at the Portal 3 Kingdoms set. Wait, Portal 3 Kingdoms set. Wait, what? Portal 3... Zodiac roster? Zodiac... Is there a Portal 3 Kingdoms set? I had no... Guys, I don't even know what Portal 3 Kingdoms is. Zodiac roster. Zodiac roster? Zodiac Rooster. Okay. Well... Okay, here's a Zodiac Rooster. It's a 2-drop 2/1, and it can planeswalk, meaning that if your opponent has the planes, it can't be blocked. Also, it's $13. What the f... Okay, you know what? So that planeswalk ability can be pretty meaningful. We do want to be attacking. We want our chicken to be very safe when it attacks. I don't think it's worth $13 for the Choco deck, personally. But honest, like, just look at it. Like, do you want to show somebody a card they've never seen before? Are you familiar with Zodiac Rooster? What the hell is this? Oh, this is the perfect background for Zodiac Rooster. Okay. Alright, thank you for sharing that with me. That was fun. I need to get that back into MTG. The favorite deck I ever made. You made a spirit deck from Kamigawa? What colors was it? No one played. Are roosters errata to birds? Oh, it's a rooster, not a bird. You know, I'm pretty sure it's going to be errata to bird. Alright, so Emeria Angel for mega value. Ivan Jumper wants us to run the Emeria Angel. Alright. So, Emeria... Oh, I didn't spell it right. Emeria... We need an E up in there. Oh, this thing's amazing in this deck. Let's talk about it. Okay, so this thing is a 4-drop little flying 3/3 angel creature, but it's got a landfall trigger for us to make a little 1/1 white flying bird whenever a land enters. And because we can potentially crap out free lands with the stuff on top of our library, proportionate to the amount of birds we're attacking with, the Emeria Angel could potentially make us multiple birds every turn. It's also aggressively costed at 4 mana. We can cast it the turn after we get Choco onto the battlefield and maybe hit some token triggers off it. It's a good time. Also, it looks like this thing also got recently reprinted, and I would bet this is in the Mardu precon, the one that makes tokens, but I am not positive. Did anybody oh yeah, let's pull up Castrol. Hey Matt, how's it going? Castrol the Windcrested is the 5-mana Azorius bird commander from Bloomburrow a few months ago. It's cool. It's a little bit... I like it because it's modal, right? So whenever one or more birds you control deal combat damage to a player, you choose one. You can put a bird from your hand or graveyard onto the battlefield with a finality counter. You draw your card, or you put a +1/+1 counter on each bird you control. It's a good time. Bloomburrow introduced the 10 animal tribes into Magic the Gathering, kind of like in a commander-focused way, because each one got multiple multicolored commanders. The bird tribe is in Azorius colors, and this is the main commander for it. Yeah, it's a good time. Zodiac Rooster was eroded to being a bird. Thank you, Void. I figured you get a kick. Void, I sure did get a kick out of that rooster. If I was a different creator, I would make a cock joke. Loot Exuberant Explorer. Loot Exuberant Explorer. Loot Exuberant Explorer is a 3-drop legendary $6 little beast noble, and unfortunately, it is my regrets to inform you that Loot unfortunately does have rights. He does wear clothes. You may play an additional land on each of your turns. You can activate Loot for 6 mana, and you can look at the top 6 cards of your library. You can reveal a creature from among them and put them with mana value less than or equal to the number of lands you control, and you can put it onto the battlefield. The rest go on the bottom in a random order. It's a good time. If you just want to run like a simple mono-green creature commander build, here's Loot. He lets you play things off the top. Or no, he doesn't let you play things off the top. He lets you play an additional land for turn. But if you pay 6 mana into him, you can just shit out a free creature from the top of your library if it's proportionate to the amount of lands you got. It's a good time. All Runs Epiphany. Dream Demon, how are you doing, dude? Good to see you. Is that a new profile icon? All right, let's pull up All Runs Epiphany, suggested by Dream Demon. So All Runs Epiphany, oh, it's a Kaldheim Mythic. It's a $5, 7-mana sorcery Kaldheim Mythic. This thing says you create 2 1/1 bird creature tokens with flying, and you create an extra turn after this one, and you exile All Runs Epiphany. You can also foretell it for 6 mana, meaning that you can cast it for the reduced 6 mana instead, if you foretell it for 2 and save it for a different turn to cast it. This thing, Allrund is I want to say he's a riff off Odin, off Norse mythology, because Odin had the 2 ravens. Allrund makes 2 birds. The birds look like ravens. I want to say he's a reference to Odin. I wasn't playing during the time of Kaldheim, but I'm not positive. Oh, a Traveling Chocobo. Oh my god, is Traveling Chocobo. I know a lot of men are trying to open up one of them Traveling Chocobos. Traveling Chocobo is a landfall player's wet dream, okay? All in this big, beautiful bird. It says that you may look at the top card of your library anytime, and you may play lands and cast bird spells from the top of your library. So you get lands and you get birds. This thing is a must include in our bird deck, and if a land or bird you control entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. This 3-drop will double up your landfall triggers, and we haven't seen anything that really doubles up landfall triggers that's this aggressively low-costed at 3 mana. This thing's amazing. It's already at a pre-sale value of $30, and it's probably going to go up. This thing was also spoiled in one of the Final Fantasy press releases. I want to say it was one for MagicCon a few weeks ago, or Magic Convention a few weeks ago, where we're getting like a bunch of different art treatments that are supposed to be like the chase rares, if you're into that. It's cool. I hope I get one, because I would love to slam this bird into a landfall deck. Or into a bird landfall deck. This thing is like the chase rare if you're building Choco. Commander Aisha from the Judgment set. Commander Aisha. Aisha, sure hope I'm saying that correctly. Well, I didn't spell it correctly. It has 2 E's. Okay. Commander Aisha is a 4-drop, $4 flying protection from creatures. Bird Soldier Legend 2/4. Okay, yeah. So it's got some meaningful keywords. It's got protection from creatures, meaning that even if it gets blocked, it's not going to take any damage, which is great because we need to be kind of reckless with our birds. We need them flying all around during combat so that we can get the most attacking birds as possible for Choco's trigger. This thing's cool. It'll protect itself, at least from combat damage. And for those reasons, it feels perfectly viable. Also, the art goes hard. It's giving Digimon to me. Is it giving Digimon to anybody else? Avon Brigadier is suggested by Dream Demon. Avon Brigadier. Avon Brigadier is not a card I'm familiar with. This thing says, okay, all right. I feel like I need to respect this bird. Avon Brigadier. God, that art is weird. Okay. All right. Avon Brigadier is a 6-drop, 3/5, $3 bird soldier. All other soldiers and all other birds get +1/+1. So if you can find a way to make all your birds soldiers, this thing is going to give them a little anthem of +2/+2. If you can make them birds and soldiers, this thing's cool. Okay, I don't hate it. God, this bird is a veteran. We got to put respect on this bird's name. God, this is artist. This is definitely the most striking art I've seen all live. I don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't this. It's cool though. It's a cool little lord for birds. Oh, Doge Boy wants us to run the Avon Mind Sensor. Okay. Let's start interacting with our opponents with this here Avon Mind Sensor. Avon Mind Sensor is interesting. It was originally printed in, I want to say, Amonkhet. This thing has flash flying, and if an opponent would search the library, they search the top 4 cards of their library instead. It's great. It sees play in CEDH, I imagine. I don't play a lot of CEDH. It's definitely a stacks piece. I've had this thing played against me while I was cracking a Myriad Landscape or like an Evolving Wilds, and it made me pretty sad, I tell you what. It's a cool card. It's a bird. I have a few of them kicking in a binder, and probably Choco's the only reason I would pull him out. Yeah, definitely a good card. Also, it's got some more interesting arts than this. So thank you for the suggestion. Bant Birds has deserved a card like this for a long time. Hell yeah, that filthy casual. You know what's up. Can't wait to build this. Judge's Familiar for early interactions. Pull up a Judge's Familiar. Judge's Familiar. Judge's Familiar. Oh, this thing! Okay, this thing's cool. This is going to be a cool little bit of interaction. It's a 1-drop hybrid Azorius bird. This thing is a flying 1/1. You can sacrifice it at instant speed to counter target instant sorcery spell unless this opponent controller pays 1. I'm going to be real with you guys. I'm running it because it's a low-drop bird. It's got a very cool watermark, and the hybrid mana frame is my favorite frame in MTG. I'm not like a counterspell person or a counterspell player, and this thing doesn't feel very impactful to me because they could pay 1 mana. Like, if they have a treasure, they pop it and their spell goes off and we lost our bird. Yeah, it's cool. It's interesting. The art goes hard. This bird has a job. This bird is employed. We like that. Yeah, and it's a little flying low drop. And we want to we want to have low drops, right? Because whenever one or more birds you control attack, we can have this thing hanging out on the battlefield, wait until Choco hits the battlefield. We can attack with the Judge's Familiar and get a Choco trigger, because Choco itself doesn't need to attack. It's whenever one or more birds you control attack, we look at that many cards. Yeah, so this thing can attack if we get it out before Choco on the turn the Choco enters. Very cool card. Oyubi, the split, Oyubi split the heavens. Oyubi split the heavens. God, please come up for Oyubi. Oyubi, who split the heavens, looks like a bird, but is actually a 7-drop 3/6 spirit. This thing is a flyer, and whenever you cast a spirit or arcane spell, you make a 3/3 white spirit creature token with flying. Man, I wish this thing was a bird. Okay. This art is so cool, though. Look at this thing. This is a very sick art. It doesn't quite go in the bird tribal for me, though, even though it looks like it should be a bird. Yeah. The Talon hands are interesting for sure. Talon hands? Talon hands. Talon hands. Let's pull up some Talon hands. Okay, they're not pulling up. Maybe they're not a card. Beckon Call. Ooh, Beckon Call. Beckon Call is interesting. So Beckon Call is, I believe, a fuse card. Wait, no, it's not a... Wait, it is a fuse card. Okay, so on the Simic side, right, whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control this turn, we draw a card. That could be interesting because the call sides... you put 4 1/1 white bird creature tokens with flying onto the battlefield. So if we can get up to 8 mana, we can cast both sides of this card. We're going to make 4 birds. We're going to draw 4 cards. It's going to be a good time. And if we can get more creatures than just the 4 birds on the other half of the fuse spell, we're going to be drawing even more cards. Yeah, hell yeah, I can get behind this. Iggy, thank you so much for the popular vote in the heart. And Igor, thank you so much for the rose. I appreciate it. Flurry of Wings. What the heck is a Flurry of Wings? Flurry of Wings is not a card I'm familiar with. Thank you guys for the 600 likes on TikTok. I appreciate it. Flurry of Wings. Okay, it's a Bant card. It's an instant. You put X 1/1 white bird soldier creature tokens with flying into play where X is the number of attacking creatures. Honestly... 10 out of 10. This is exactly the card we want. It's instant speed. We want to have a bunch of attacking creatures. It cares about the number of attacking creatures. It makes birds and it makes soldiers. We also saw that 6-drop striking bird with the bird soldier thing. That is an anthem for birds and soldiers. And this thing makes birds that are also soldiers. Very cool. Also, it's an instant speed, right? So if we're on the back foot and we're getting swung on by a bunch of creatures at once, we could use Flurry of Wings to make a bunch of flying blockers at instant speed. Yeah, I can get behind this. This thing feels cool to me. Helm of the Host is a 4-drop little legendary piece of equipment. It's colorless. It has equip 5, so it's a little bit of a mana and it's a little bit mana intensive for the investment. It's 4 to cast it, 5 to equip it for a mana investment of 9 before you can even get to the trigger of at the beginning of your combat step. You create a token that's a copy of equipped creature, except the token ain't legendary. This thing is super popular in Commander. I want to say that it's the most popular way to make copies of your Commander because the tokens that this thing makes are not legendary. It's so good. It's so good. That's why this thing climbs up and gets a little bit more pricey every time we look at it. We're looking at the copy that was reprinted in the Bloomborough precons, and that one's already up to 15 bucks. Around the time of All Will Be One, this card was about 10 bucks. Flurry of Wings. Flurry of Wings. I feel like we just pulled up Flurry of Wings. Yeah, we just looked at Flurry of Wings. Taunos the Toy Maker. Taunos the Toy Maker. Taunos the Toy Maker. Is he the bird and beast guy? I think he is. He is the bird and beast guy. All right. So Taunos the bird and beast guy is a 3/5. He's a human artificer. And whenever you cast a beast or a bird spell, you may copy it, except the copy is an artifact in addition to its other types. This thing's great. It was the bird commander for a long time. It's cool. It's interesting. So we had this thing for Simic birds, and then we got that Azorius bird commander, and I think that uncommon Azorius bird commander from Bloomborough. And now we have something that can run them all in the form of Choco, which also shits out lands, which is wonderful. This thing's cool. It's a 5-drop. A little bit of a hefty mana investment of 5 because you do need to cast something after it to get that copy trigger. But hell yeah, it's a cool card. It'll help us make a bunch of birds, and we need a bunch of birds to have the most impactful Choco triggers. Yeah, interesting. I like it. Celestial Gatekeeper is our next suggestion. It's from Dream Demon over on YouTube. Thanks for hanging out with me on YouTube. I appreciate it. I am desperate to get traction there. Celestial Gatekeeper is a bird, I assume. It's a 5-drop flying 2/2. When it's put into a graveyard from play, exile it, and then return up to 2 target bird or clerics from your graveyard to the battlefield. I can get behind this. I don't hate this. It's kind of a shitty body, though, right? We are paying 5 mana for a flying 2/2 that wants to die. Man, it is a recursion spell. but our friends can see it on the battlefield and they'll know not to kill it. And I feel like they'll probably just let it hit them because it's only a base 2/2. But outside of that, it's a bird. It's a playable bird, and it's a bird that can take birds from our graveyard and put them onto the birdie battlefield. Saproling Symbiosis from Drakers 98. Saproling Symbiosis. Saproling Symbiosis is a 4-drop, $1.50 mono green sorcery, and you may cast it as Odette Flash if you pay 2 more for a total of 6. Create a 1/1 green Saproling creature token for each creature you control. Honestly, why not? Also, what the fuck? These are not what I remember Saprolings looking like. They were not that phallic. They were not that flesh tone. What the fuck are we looking at here? Okay, well, let's get that off the screen. I don't know why that phallus has teeth, but we're going to pull up Valor. I bet Valor's that white... No, I am not correct. Okay, Valor. We are looking for Valor. Valor... Valor is a 4-drop Incarnation 2/2, and as long as it's in your graveyard and you control planes, creatures you control have first strike. Guys, I'm going to be real with you. If I had to pick a Magic the Gathering keyword that I could never use again, I would probably pick First Strike. First Strike to me doesn't feel super impactful in a Commander game, but the way that these incarnations were working, like we took a look at Wonder, we took a look at Brawn earlier on in the game. Not earlier on in the game, earlier on in the live. And those cards are really cool because we're really hoping to mill them with Choco's Trigger. Because the revealed cards that we're not putting on our hand and the lands we're not putting on the graveyard, excuse me, the lands we're not putting on the battlefield, go to the graveyard. So Choco's really good at helping us fill our graveyard. Aven Warhawk. Aven Warhawk. Aven Warhawk is a 4-drop 2/2 flying bird for 5 mana. Excuse me, a 5-drop 2/2 flying bird for 5 mana with Amplify. You guys are making up keywords now at this point. What the hell is Amplify? When it comes into play, put a +1/+1 counter on it for each bird and or soldier you reveal from your hand. What the hell? Okay, alright, so this card's actually kind of good. We're in Bant colors, so we can draw all the cards we need. Drawing cards is not going to be hard in this deck. But, yeah, it's cool. The art goes hard. I can't really tell what's going on, like, over here in this area, and, like, this area, and also that area. I have no idea what's going on in the art, but I vibe with it. Yeah, I don't hate this. I feel like this is a more playable 5-drop than the one we saw that recurred stuff from the battlefield when it died. I like this thing. Wonder, yeah, Wonder does go hard. So it's part of the incarnation cycle. It's interesting. It wants to be in your graveyard, and it wants you to control an island, because as long as those parameters are met, this thing's going to give all your creatures flying, which is interesting, because our brand new bird commander doesn't have flying on it. Yeah, it's cool. I can get down with some Wonder. Wonder, among these incarnation cycles from whatever set these guys came out in, I have no idea. They're really cool. They're great in graveyard decks. Very fun to just have it be milled into your graveyard and have it live there. Kiki! How's it going, Kiki? It's been a... Kiki, I feel like I haven't seen you in a while. I hope you've been doing well. Kiki! Chocobo! It's Choco the Chocobo, Seeker of Paradise. Choco the Chocobo. Lotus Cobra. So Lotus Cobra is a cool little card. It's a 2-drop. It's a snake. It's not a bird. But it does give us a landfall trigger to make a mana of any color whenever a land enters the battlefield. Lotus Cobra in landfall decks can just lead to a game-ending turn out of nowhere. Because if your deck is built around landfall triggers, this thing makes a mana for every land that enters the battlefield. You can have lands enter multiple times. This thing often in landfall decks that are streamlined and well built enough, this thing can often just end the game on the turn it enters. It's normally like a combo situation when I see that, though. Jackdaw Savior. Jackdaw Savior. Jackdaw Savior. Okay, Jackdaw Savior is a 3-drop Bloomborough 3/1 flying bird cleric. This thing says whenever it or another creature with flying dies, return another target creature card with lesser mana value from the graveyard to the battlefield. What? Okay, this thing's good as hell, actually. We are in Bird Tribal. Most of our birds are going to fly. The Chocobos, unfortunately, probably not going to fly. Unless we have that thing that gives them flying, like Wonder that we saw earlier. But anyway, Jackdaw Savior says whenever another creature you control flying dies, return another target creature with lesser mana value from the graveyard to the battlefield. That's great, because we're going to have a nice, juicy graveyard, because Choco is going to help fill our graveyard proportionate to the amount of birds we put out during an attack trigger. It's going to be a good time. Yeah. It's weird to have access to so many, like such a juicy graveyard in a Bant build. Hey, Vespin Draco, how's it going? You want us to run the Stone Cedar Hierophant. Stone Cedar Hierophant. Stone Cedar Hierophant. Stone Cedar Hierophant is a human druid. It's green. It's a 4-drop. Whenever a land comes into play under your control, you untap this thing, and it has untap target land. Okay, this thing definitely has combos associated with this thing. This thing's cool. I can't believe I've never seen it before. It's 40 cents. Yeah, it's cool. How have I never seen this before? Interesting card. Super good in the landfall deck, especially in Choco, because Choco could potentially shit out multiple lands on that attack trigger, and then we can use this thing, stack the triggers in such a way that we untap our lands. Could be a good time. Could be a great time, actually. I just wish it was a bird. Izor, Wardwing, Familiar. Izor, Wardwing, Familiar. Sounds like one of those lieutenant cards. Let's just try Wardwing Familiar. Wardwing Familiar. Yeah, this thing. Okay, so Wardwing Familiar, 2 mana, 1/3 flying bird. Spells your opponents cast that target one or more of your commanders cost 3 more to cast. Why the hell not? Honestly, it's aggressively costed. It's 2 mana. If we have it in our opening hand, we can put it on the battlefield before Choco hits the battlefield, and then we have a bird to attack with on the turn that Choco enters. I like this a lot, actually. It also is going to give our commander Ward 3. Yeah, I like this a lot, actually. Very cool. And it's only 40 cents. End of school. Yeah. I hope you have a nice, restful summer, Kiki. Thank you for your service. All right, so we did Jackdaw Save. Mockingbird! Scooby Doofin! Good to see you, dude. How are you? Mockingbird is an interesting little blue bird. It came out in Bloomborough. It's like a blue and an X, and it's a copy bird, right? Flying, you may have Mockingbird enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield with mana value less than or equal to the amount of mana you paid into Mockingbird. Except it's a bird in addition to its other types and has flying. It's that retaining its type and also retaining flying for me. It's really cool. You could copy your opponent's commanders with this thing. Copy of any bird on any creature on the battlefield. Yeah, you can copy your opponent's commanders with this thing. It's a good time. I'm a 12. Oh no. I hope you get a lot done, Kiki. And okay. Dovescape. Okay, so Dovescape, we talked about the Dovescape already, but we'll talk about it again. Dovescape is an interesting little 6-drop Azorius enchantment, and a lot of people fucking hate Dovescape because it says that non-creature spells turn into birds. Your counter spells, birds. Your cultivates, birds. They're all birds now, unless they're a creature spell. And some people really don't like that, especially the Stormy players, but I happen to think that Dovescape is hilarious, actually, because I'm a casual commander player. This thing definitely belongs in our bird deck. It's going to turn all our non-creature spells into birds, which are what we wanted anyway. Skycat Sovereign is a great suggestion. Skycat Sovereign is what's known as a Lord. Lords are cards that care about a certain kind of creature type or like a certain theme, like flying. How the Skycat says that it gets +1/+. Wait, this is not a Lord. Forget everything I just said in the last few seconds. Skycat Sovereign is a 2-drop Azorius 1/1 flying elemental cat, not a bird. But this cat gets +1/+1 for each other creature you control flying, and you can pay 4, and you can make a white cat bird creature token with flying. This thing's interesting. It comes out early. It itself is not a bird, but it gets bigger the more birds we got, and it itself can make birds. It's a little bit mana intensive for 4 mana on an activated ability, though. But it can help us make a bunch of birds. I wonder if we can find that token. Come on, where's that token? Damn it. Oh, well. All right, very cool include. I would run it. It makes birds. It makes birds as long as you got the mana for it. Casal, Lurkwood, Pathfinder. Casal, Lurkwood, Pathfinder. Casal, Lurkwood, Pathfinder is a 4-drop legendary tiefling druid, vigilant 3/3. When this thing enters, search your library for a forest card, put it onto the battlefield, tap, and shuffle. And whenever this thing attacks, you may pay 2. If you do, you transform it into this bird bear. This is the Pathbreaker Owl Bear. It's a vigilant trample, a 6/6. And when this creature transforms, other legendary creatures you control get +2/+2 and gain trample until end of turn. And at the beginning of your upkeep, you transform it back into Casal. Yeah, I like this thing. Yeah, I can be down with it. It enters, it ramps us, it grabs us a forest. We could grab, I don't know, the Triomes have the land types. We can grab a Triome with it. We can grab a Shock Land, put that on the battlefield, and then we can attack with it, resolve its trigger before Choco's, so that when Choco's trigger is resolving, it'll count it as a bird if we paid the mana to transform it. I like it a lot, actually. I like it a lot, and it's because it's going to buff other birds that are legendary. We've seen quite a few legendary birds. Yeah, I don't mind this at all. Yeah, it's just not budget at $20, but hell yeah, I could run it. This is a Moxfeild deck, and it goes. Thank you. I had no idea that card existed. Never seen it before in my life. Gwahir, the Windlord. Let's just pull up the Windlord. The Windlord. Gwahir the Windlord is a 6-drop Azorius bird noble 4/4. Costs 2 less to catch as long as you've drawn 2 or more cards this turn. It says other birds you control have vigilance, and it itself has flying and vigilance. This is more what I'm talking about, right? So we got a relevant body. We have not seen anything around 4 power yet, I think. I think this is the biggest body we've seen. It's on a 6-drop, but at least it has a little bit of cost reduction that if we draw 2 cards, we can get it out for 4 mana. And it's also going to give our birds vigilance, which is important because we're kind of encouraged to attack a little bit recklessly in a Choco deck because we want to have really impactful attack triggers, look at more cards, shit out more lands, get more landfall triggers, make Choco bigger. This thing, though, I can get behind. It's also only 40 cents. Shabraz, the Sky Shark. Is Shabraz a bird? Is it a bird? Is it a bird? It's a bird! Look at this bird! Okay, here we have a bird. Shabraz, the Sky Shark, is a bird. It's a 5-drop. It's meant to be paired up with this mono red human that it partners with, but we don't have to run red in our bird tribal. Partner with the red guy. Flying, whenever you draw a card, put a +1/+1 counter on Shabraz, the Sky Bird, and you gain 1 life. And you can pay 2 mana, and target creature gains human until flying until end of turn. It's quite interesting. Whenever you draw a card, you make it a little bit bigger. It's a 5-drop flying 3/3 bird that gets bigger when we draw cards, and it helps us gain life. That's all it's going to be for us in our deck. But also, it's a bird. You can't tell me it's not a bird. Very silly. All right, Kangi, Skywarden, Kangi. Ooh, is this the one that sacrifices itself? No, it's not. Nope, that's Disciple of Kangi. Kangi, Arikey. Wait, we want Kangi, Skywarden. Kangi, Skywarden is a 5-drop bird wizard, uncommon. I want to say it's from Dominaria United. And when this thing attacks, attacking creatures with flying get +2/+0 until end of turn. And whenever this thing blocks, blocking creatures with flying get +2/+. Honestly, I'd run it. I'd run it all day. Okay, so it has vigilance, so it's going to be flying and attacking and blocking. Most of our birds are going to have flying, and if they don't have flying, we have Wonder that we can put in our graveyard to give them flying. I would run this. I would run this. This feels good to me. Kangi Airy Keeper, suggested by Kiki. Okay, so this looks like the OG Kangi. It's a flying 2/2. It's got kicker 2. Oh god, why does it have a weird kicker cost? You may pay an additional 2x as you play this card. It flies, and when it comes into play, if you paid the kicker cost, put X feather counters on it. All birds get +1/+1 for each feather counter on Kangi. Hell yeah, I'd run this thing all day. This thing, towards the end of a game, when you already have a board of little flying birds, you could run this thing, put all your mana into it, and then all your birds are going to be big. This thing feels good. Yeah. I'm a little bit confused by the kicker cost, right? So if you want to pay the kicker, you're going to pay 6 and then X. So if you want to give all your birds like +3/+3, you need to pay 9 mana into this. Yeah. So it's a little bit mana intensive, but it is a bird. It is a bird. It's a bird. Wings of Velis Vale. Velis Vale. I think I've seen this card. I think I have this living in a binder. Wings of Velis Vale. Wings of Velis Vale. Wings of Velis Vale is a 2-drop shapeshifter instant. It is every creature type, even though it's an instant. So it's a bird spell. It is a bird spell. So if we need something that counts for a bird spell, it'll do it. Until end of turn, target creature has base power and toughness 4/4, gains all creature types, and gains flying. It's, you know what? It could be a really piece of interesting tech because of the tribal typing on it. And it can make one of our creatures a little bit bigger. Our birds are going to be small. They're not going to be doing a bunch of damage. Yeah, I can get behind this. I can get behind this all day. Jotun Owlkeeper. Jotun Owlkeeper. Jotun Owlkeeper. Jotun Owlkeeper. Okay, we got a Jotun Owlkeeper is a 3-drop giant in mono white. It's a 3/3, but it has a cumulative upkeep where you got to pay white or blue. And when this thing is put into a graveyard from play, put a 1/1 white bird creature token with flying to play for each age counter on it, right? So we cast this thing, we wait a turn, we pay the upkeep cost, it gets a counter. We wait a second turn, we pay the upkeep cost. We've now spent 6 mana into this thing, and it's going to make us 2 birds when we die. For those reasons, I don't think I can. If we could proliferate those counters, if we could make a fuck ton of counters on this thing right before it dies, I could get more behind it. But this is so much mana, right? So it's going to hang out on the battlefield. It itself is not a bird. You have to keep paying cumulative upkeeps into it to get the counters. And you can't even have it be exiled or bounced. It's got to go to it. It's got to die. It's hard. This card is hard. It's hard to get this to pop off, in my opinion. Warden of Evos Isle. Warden of Evos Isle. This is a little enchantment siren bird thing. It's blue. Yeah, it's a bird wizard. I want to say it's from one of the Pharaoh sets. Creatures flying, you cast 1 less to cast 10 out of 10. Excellent piece of ramp. Honestly, probably the best piece of ramp in the deck, if we're being real with you. Outside of the commander shitting out lands off the attack trigger, this thing's amazing. It makes our birds of flying cost 1 less to cast, which is a bummer because it's probably not going to hit chocobos, but there's not that many chocobos anyway. Yeah, I can get behind this all day. Great suggestion. That's it. Voidless Void. That's the card I was thinking of. Murmuration. Murmuration is a bird card. It's a big bird card. And it is a mono white enchantment. 5-drop. It came out in Bloomborough. Birds you control get +1/+1 and have vigilance. At the beginning of your end step, for each spell you've cast this turn, you make a 1/2 blue bird creature token with flying named Stormcrow. It's good. It's a good card. Great in birds. All right. We have Taunos in there already. Liberated Livestock. Liberated Livestock. Liberated Livestock. Liberated Livestock. Liberated Livestock is a cat, bird, ox. It is a bird. It's a 6-drop mono white 4/6 bird. When this thing dies, you create a 1/1 cat with lifelink, a 1/1 bird with flying, a 2/4 white ox creature, and then for each of those tokens, you may put an aura card from your hand or graveyard onto the battlefield attached to it. I don't hate it. It's interesting. It is a bird. It's a bird that when this thing dies, it makes you another bird and a cat and an ox. But we're mostly just caring about the birds and the fact that this liberated livestock is itself a bird. Yeah, Archetype of Imagination is a cool include. Let's talk about it. So Archetype of Imagination, when I first started playing Commander, I used to slam it in all my decks that were running blue because it was often just a win con, because there were a lot of dragons at those tables. Archetype of Imagination is a 6-drop mono blue, I want to say Incarnation. And it says that your opponent's creatures lose flying and your creatures gain flying. And I cannot spell archetype. Imagination. Archetype of Imagination. Here it is. Archetype of Imagination. I was missing the E. Yeah, it says your opponent's creatures lose flying and your creatures get flying. It's a good time. It's often just enough to clear a game if you're playing casually with casual free cons. This card's great. It keeps getting reprinted, and it stays low price. I would say that this thing is definitely worth $1. And it makes the dragon players really sad, which is very funny to me. Watcher of the Spheres. Yeah, let's pull up a Watcher of the Spheres. Watcher of the Spheres. Watcher of the Spheres. Oh, this thing! Okay, this is what I was imagining what the Sky Cat was. Watcher of the Spheres is a 2-drop little Azorius bird wizard that came out in Core Set 2021. Creature spells you control with flying get +1. Excuse me. Creature spells with flying cost 1 less to cast. And whenever another creature with flying enters the battlefield under your control, Watcher gets +1 until end of turn. So if we have like a Dovescape, or if we're crapping out a crap ton of birds all at once, this thing's gonna get big and spooky. It's a good time. I enjoy it. It's cost reduction, right? It's even better than that Warden of the Evos Isles because it's 1 less mana to cast. It also gets big itself. Good suggestion. Very good suggestion. Perch Protection. Perch Protection. Perch Protection. Perch Protection is not a card I'm familiar with, but it definitely sounds like a birdie card. Okay. Perch Protection is a 6-mana mono white instant. Oh, this thing. It's the gift an extra turn mono white instant. This thing is super interesting. Create 4 2/2 bird creature tokens with flying. If the gift was promised, all permanents you control phase out, and until your next turn, your life total can't change, and you gain protection from everything, and you exile the instant as a result. Honestly, this card is 1 game. So this card is 1 games against me. It gives your opponents an extra turn. It lets everybody else die. It's great. It's kind of like Teferi's Protection if you had to pay 6 mana for it, and it also made you 4 birds. It makes birds, so we are definitely going to run it. Even if we're not gifting an extra turn, 6 mana instant speed, make 4 flying 2/2 birds in a bird deck? That's pretty good, in my opinion. All right, what else we got? We got a Wingmate Rock. Wingmate Rock. Sounds like a white card. Wingmate Rock is a 5-drop mythic from one of, I want to say, Khans of Tarkir. It's a 3/4 flying bird. When this thing enters the battlefield, if you attacked with a creature this turn, you make another 3/4 white bird creature. And whenever this thing attacks, you gain 1 life for each attacking creature. Honestly, 10 out of 10. For me, it's gonna be that life gain trigger, right? Because Choco really wants us to be attacking with a bunch of birds so we can get a bunch of lands onto the battlefield and put a bunch of cards in our graveyard. This thing is going to help us gain life, and it wants to be attacking, If we can get it on the battlefield after we attacked, it's going to make a second 3/4. Why wouldn't we run it? Honestly, why wouldn't we run it? It's $1.25. The art goes hard. Yeah, very cool card. I can get behind that 100%. Soraya the Falconer. Soraya the Falconer. Soraya the Falconer is a little legendary white human. All falcons get +1/+1, and you can pay 2, and target falcon gets banding until end of turn. Okay. Any creature with banding and oh my, I'm not reading that. Fuck you. I'm not reading banding. I am going to maintain my ignorance and not learn about banding today. I bet this has been eroded to birds. This could be a cool little interesting mono white bird commander. Yeah, why not? Yeah, James, you're right. So Ameria Angel is a great card for this deck, especially because Choco forces those landfall triggers and also cares about landfall triggers. Ameria Angel is a 4-drop and mono white that says whenever a land enters the battlefield under our control, we make ourselves a little 1/1 white flying bird creature token. It's great. It makes birds. It itself flies. So those creatures with the cost reduction for flying creatures, it's going to hit this too and not just birds. Love it. 10 out of 10 suggestion. Also, it's 50 cents on top of everything, and the art goes hard. Yeah. All right, guys. We have been going for an hour. We're going to do a few more before we call it a night. So, Song of the World Soul. Song of the World Soul. Song of the World Soul is not... Song of the World... Is that the green enchantment thing? No. Song of the World Soul is a white enchantment. Whenever you cast a spell, populate. Create a token copy of a creature token you already control. Yeah. Interesting. We would want to have some interesting tokens though. Like if I would if this deck was all about 1/1 bird creature tokens, I might not run this. But if I have like some 2/3s or some 3/3s or some 4/4 tokens, I'd run this thing all day. But for 1/1 little birds, we're gonna need something a little spicier for me to run this. Soul Catcher's Airy. Soul Catcher's Airy. Soul Catcher's Airy is a 2-drop white enchantment. Whenever a bird is put into your graveyard from play, put a feather counter on Soul Catcher's Airy. All birds get +1/+1 for each feather counter on Soul Catcher's Airy. This thing's amazing. Okay, I had no idea this thing existed. Well, we have to run this. We have to run this. We haven't seen a lot of things that make our birds big effectively, right? We saw a few things that give them like +2/+0 or like +0/+2 or like +1. Like even Choco's landfall trigger only gives it +1 power. It doesn't make it any tougher. This thing though kind of works, or not kind of works. It definitely works because we're going to be swinging kind of recklessly with our birds. They're going to be dying. This thing can get some feather counters. When our birds die, they're going to get bigger. This thing comes out early game. The art's a little confusing, but I can vibe with this. It's also only $4. Yeah, great suggestion. Great suggestion. Divine Visitation. Oh, well, there we go. Yeah, Divine Visitation. There we go. So we do make a ton of little 1/1 birds, but if we run this little Divine Visitation, hell yeah! Okay, guys, this card used to be $20. This card used to be $20 when it was first printed and one of the Return to Ravnica blocks right before War of the Spark. This thing is now $3. I am so fucking hyped that this thing is not expensive as shit anymore. Anyway, this thing says if one or more creature tokens would be created under your control, that many white 4/4 angels with flying and vigilance are created instead. This thing's amazing. I'm so glad this thing got a reprint. 10 out of 10. Would recommend. Especially for $3 instead of $20. Oh, Matt, Bird of Paradise is already in there. That's one of the very first ones we did. Let's talk about Battle Screech. Battle Screech. Battle Screech is a 4-drop white sorcery. It's giving the Last Guardians right here in the art. It's from Commander Masters. You create 2 1/1 white bird creature tokens with flying, and you can flash it back by tapping 3 untapped white creatures you control to make some more birds. This thing's quite interesting. I don't know. I don't know how I quite feel about it. So it does make multiple birds, which is going to help us with our Choco triggers. And it does, well, honestly, you know, I think I just talked myself into it. It makes multiple birds, and you can flash it back to, by tapping 3 untapped white creatures you control and make more birds. It's cool. I'd run it. I would run it all day. Because it makes more than one bird, right? It makes two, yeah. I would run it because it makes more than one bird. Kept evergreen? Absolutely not. We've gone through this whole live without having to bust out the shame saber. Flurry of Wings. Flurry of Wings. Yeah, so we talked about Flurry of Wings. Flurry of Wings is an interesting little 3-drop little instant. It makes bird soldiers. We saw a bird lord. If you guys don't know what lords are, they have anthems on them, and they usually say +1/+1 to a specific creature type. We saw a bird lord that gives +1/+1 to birds and +1/+1 to soldiers. This thing makes birds that are soldiers. These birds are employed in the Department of Defense, and they come out at instant speed. And if we want to use it offensively, we can cast it during our turn because we're going to have a bunch of attacking birds so that we can have a meaningful Chocobo trigger. Chocobo trigger. We could have a Choco the Chocobo Seeker of Paradise trigger. Activate, or not, play our Flurry of Wings, make a bunch of birds proportionate to the creatures we're attacking with, or we can use Flurry of Wings in a defensive stance and use it while we're being attacked by a bunch of creatures, and maybe our opponents don't think that we have blockers, but surprise, we have bird soldiers. Yeah, this thing's cool. It's also only $1.50. Alright, guys. I think we're going to do one more. We talked about Thanos the Toy Maker. We didn't talk about Watley Radiant Champion, though. Watley Radiant Champion is going to be our last card of the night. Watley, okay, never mind. Watley Radiant... Can we not run Watley? I think Watley has red in it. Yeah, I think Watley Radiant Champion has red in it. We can't run it. Splash Portal. Okay, Splash Portal. Splash Portal is going to be our last card of the night. It's from Vespin Draco over on YouTube. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me on YouTube. I've struggled to get traction there for a long time, so thank you guys for hanging out with me there. Splash Portal is an uncommon from the Bloom Bros set. It's a 1-mana mono blue sorcery. Exile target creature you control, then return it to the battlefield under its owner's control. If that creature was a bird, frog, otter, or a rat, you draw yourself a card. So this is going to be a little bit of a card draw for us. If we have a bird that has an ETB trigger, we can use Splash Portal to get that ETB trigger off the bird again. And because we're running a ton of birds, we're going to draw a card off Splash Portal. Alright guys, this has been our bird live deck tech for Choco, Seeker of Paradise. Choco the Chocobo, Seeker of Paradise. If you guys want to check out any of the cards we talked about tonight, any of the cards you saw over here, you guys can check out the Moxfeild on the link tree. I want to thank you guys so much for hanging out with me.